Hey Amy, how are you?
Great, Nick. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. So for all of our listeners at home, with Amy, who's the head coach at UNLV, we're going to just do a quick short Q&A just to get some questions answered for potential recruits to come out to America. So the first question I'll ask you, Amy, is what would you recommend to any recruit that is starting the process?
I would suggest look at anything and everything as an option. We all have specifics that we want, where we might want to go after weather, or we might not want to go after a degree program, or we might want to go after a coach, or certain golf courses, but you never know what you're going to find. So you need to make sure that you're open to everything and anything that you're looking at, because then you can always go back and eliminate. And so you might really be able to find a special place that you weren't thinking about, and a wonderful opportunity to get to come to the U.S. So keep open minds and open doors.
Couldn't agree more. Can you run through typically how you'd recruit a player and the ideal timeline for you?
So we're traditionally 2 years ahead as the NCAA rules will allow us to be. So right now in our process, we're evaluating student athletes who would be in their sophomore year in the U.S. So approximately 15, 16 years old. And so that would mean that they have 2 years left of school in the United States. And so that's when we're really starting to look. We might look a little bit younger, but with some of the rules that are happening now, that's when we're really starting to take a peek.
Okay, perfect. And for you as a coach, how important are academics?
Academics are super important for all of us. It really provides, if you're good at academics, I promise it correlates to the golf course. Because it also makes your transition a lot easier when you get here to the United States. If you have your academics in order and you've got organization, I promise you it becomes a lot easier to be a student athlete, because you're constantly go, 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 go. And so you have to make sure that, as silly as it sounds, you're scheduling an opportunity to eat, and you're scheduling an opportunity to do your laundry. And so if you can be more organized in your academic side, it just reduces your stress level.
Okay, perfect. When you do a recruiting call with an athlete, what are you really looking for from them, and what could they do that would potentially turn you off of them as well?
Really for me, it's just, I want to have a nice conversation, and I want to have a conversation with you, because it's an opportunity for both of us to get to know each other. And I may say something that the student athlete doesn't like either, where it's like, that person's kind of off my list. And so really what I'm looking for is, let's have a conversation. Can we talk? Can we make that connection? Because we're going to spend 5 years together. So we need to make sure that we do have that connection. And now there's initial stuff where it's got to be strange to sit back and talk to a coach being a teenager, right? Like, here I am talking to this coach with this opportunity that I'm going to have. But I want to make sure that we have a connection, and that I'm answering your questions. And so come with questions, because this is an important part of your life. And as silly as it sounds, as silly as the question is, it matters. So really the initial phone call for me is a get to know. Let's get to know each other. Do you have siblings? What are some of your other things do you like? What do you like to do with your spare time? Because there is life outside golf.
Absolutely. My next two questions kind of go hand in hand, but first one would be, when do you suggest that a recruit should take the SAT?
I'd say as early as possible. Please take these standardized tests that we require here in the United States. And the reason is because it's so new and it's so different than what international student athletes are used to. And so please take the online programming that I know you guys are suggesting that they do. Learn it, because it is so different. And so what happens is that since it's broken into two sections, the more you take it, they take your best score. And then what translates from that is it puts you in better classes anywhere in the US that you're in, so that you don't have to start from scratch where you're wondering why you're in this easy math class when you could be challenging yourself more. So take it often, take it as much as you can until the coach says, hey, we're good.
And then leading on to the next part of that, how likely would you be to make an offer to a player if they didn't have an SAT or didn't have a TOEFL?
You know, it just depends on institution to institution. You know, in the US, they're going to start making some of the standardized tests, not as a admission standard. And so I would say it's really, we've just got to look at institution and where you're kind of going for. But I would also say that this is going to be years down the road where they say, oh, we don't necessarily need the standardized testing. And so, you know, what I can look for is a GPA, and I can make sure that from that GPA, do we have the ability to be okay in college? And so I wouldn't say that it's necessarily where we need the SAT, but I promise it's going to make life much easier when you get here.
Of course, perfect. Besides golf and academics, what else do you look for from a student athlete if you're going to recruit them?
You know, this should be the most fun 4 years of your life. And so I really want somebody that's going to be willing to come in and be hardworking, but also come in and just kind of be willing to have a good time and be open-minded. Because this is cool, and you get to tell your friends, I'm going to the United States and I'm going to go, you know, be great and do great things. And so just come over and be open-minded and be willing to have a good time.
Perfect. How does a typical day look for a student athlete in America?
Busy. And, you know, I'd say all places, they're going to have workouts 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes most places they're traditionally doing them in the morning. And so the NCAA doesn't allow us to start things until 5:30. And I say until 5:30, but sometimes on tournament mornings, you're up before that. And so, you know, you go to workouts and then you have class. And you're studying for a good portion of the day, and then you're going to go out and you're going to end your day at practice. But then once practice finishes, you're probably going to have study hall, tutoring, studies. And so, you know, a traditional day, you're going all day. And that's why I say it, as I said earlier in this, you know, there's going to be times that you have to schedule eating.
Of course. And how important would you say a player's communication with you is, either when they're at your college or if you're trying to recruit them? Just their communication. Is that something that you really look for?
Huge. It's huge, because I always tell my athletes, I can't read your mind. I wish I could. I wish I could reach in there, and I wish I could help you. But communication is huge. And unfortunately, in this day and age, we've lost a little bit of that communication with the phones. And so it's so much easier to just solve problems with text messages. But, you know, you can really hear people's enthusiasm when you call them on the phone, or you can hear their positivity, or you can hear that something's wrong. Yeah. And so I say that just throughout the whole process, I mean, from recruiting to commitment to even being here, you know, you can solve the problems. It's much easier to pick up the phone or, you know, even have face-to-face contact. I know that seems so strange, but I promise that we can solve this together, rather than, I like to say, you know, how ostriches stick their head in the ground and hope that things blow over. But I promise if you do that, it's going to make life a lot more challenging, rather than just facing the issue and saying, hey, coach, I need this, or I am struggling here, or hey, coach, this great thing happened to me today.
Of course. Of course. What would you say is the main benefits of coming to college in America?
Well, I think, you know, the educational system that they have in the universities here, you know, just from my experience, is great. And it offers a variety of things. You know, if you want to go be a marine biologist and study, you know, whales, you can do that. If you want to go be an engineer, I mean, you know, there's a reason that a lot of countries in the world send people here to go learn engineering. And so I would say that the diversity that we offer throughout the United States is a great reason to be able to do that. You know, and if you go back to your home country and say, hey, I was educated at this college or this university, you're probably going to have a little bit easier job, finding employment, because you did go to the US, and they, most employers understand the education here.
Yeah, of course. And in terms of the golf, how do you think spending 4 years at college transitions to the professional game?
Well, I think it's just so different because we have a 4-year gap here to be able to help transition from that 18 to 22-year-old age, which is so important. There's so much maturity and so much growing there. And so the opportunities are that you have institutions paying airfare, your entry fees, your food. We're paying everything. And in the long run, we're preparing you. So you're playing in these major tournaments that in what, 10 times a year, 12 times a year, that you're playing in these major tournaments that you get to go against some of the best of the best every week. And then that transitions into where somebody else is paying for it. So now in the long run, you can come out and go, wait, I just got to travel the United States, and somebody else paid for it, and they helped me get prepared to be this professional golfer.
And you guys would fly to events as well, would you?
Yeah, most places. There's a lot of places in the U.S. that do take air travel, and so you're getting air, hotel. You don't have to worry about your transportation. The only thing you have to worry about is making sure that your alarm clock goes off so that nobody is knocking at your door. That coach is going to make sure that you're there on time to get food in your belly and be able to make it to that tee time.
Perfect. Last question for you, Amy. If you was to give one piece of advice to a student athlete looking to come out to America, what would that be?
I would say do your research. Make sure that you know where you want to go and what you want to do. Sometimes things do change, and in the recruiting process, you get people that say things that just don't happen. Yep. And so I would say, make sure, do your research, ask your questions, because this is 4 years of your life. I promise it will be the fastest 4 years of your life. But it's an opportunity for you to grow and learn. So make sure you're going to the right place where you're going to play. You're going to be able to be a contributor, and that's on you to do your research.
Of course. Perfect, Amy. Thank you so much. Hopefully this really helps some of our athletes, or any student athlete that's looking to come out to America. Well, you guys stay safe, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Amy. See ya.
You got it.
Bye.